It's fascinating for me to watch. First of all, I'm always flabbergasted to hear about the conflicts of interest going on in these agencies. I mean, is there any other field in government and in commerce where the regulators can take part in royalties for some of these, for some of these solutions? It just boggles my mind that that could even be tolerated, and that even individuals could profit from some of these pieces or even have shareholdings. It seems like just a massive, obvious conflict of interest. Does that only happen in the healthcare area? I don't hear of, defense contractors.
There's conflicts in all of these industries, but I don't think there's any conflicts like there is in health. And what you're saying is right. Listen, I brought over 500 lawsuits as an environmental lawyer. Mainly, I was representing Riverkeepers or Waterkeeper Alliance, suing the government, suing polluters. Probably 20% of my cases during that 40-year period have been against government agencies that did sweetheart deals that were illegal for polluters who they were trying to do favors for, because the polluters have used all of these mechanisms that result in agency capture. And the agency is supposed to regulate that industry, becoming sock puppets instead for the regulated industry. And that happens, that those dynamics are present with every industry, whether you look at the Nuclear Regulatory Commission, the SEC, the Commerce Department, the Agricultural Department, the USDA is really a captive of big agriculture, of industrial agriculture, and is crushing small farmers. So you see this everywhere. But with the healthcare, as you point out, it's unique because, first of all, you have agencies that are dependent on industry revenue for their own budgets. FDA gets 50%, 45% of its total budget from the pharmaceutical industry and 75% of its drug regulatory budget. So, I sued EPA probably 30 or 40 times for being captured, for engaging in conduct that showed they were really working for the industry and not for the public health. But imagine if EPA were getting 50% of its budget from the coal industry, it would be impossible. But that's true, and people would laugh and say, well, that's ridiculous. The mercantile functions, the mercantile, incentives to that industry are of course going to overwhelm and subsume the regulatory functions. And that's what's happened with the public health agency. CDC has a $12 billion annual budget. About $5 billion of that goes to purchasing vaccines from the people it's supposed to be regulating. So there's all kinds of sweetheart deals, and they set the prices at which in secret, at which they purchase those vaccines, and then distributing those vaccines to the public. So if you're at CDC, you do not get salary raises and promotions by finding problems with vaccines. You get your promotion by increasing uptake, whatever the impact is. Nobody ever looks at the impact. Nobody ever looks at a vaccine and says, is this vaccine killing more people, averting more problems than it's causing? Those studies are literally never done. When they were done in 2017, the Danish government did that study for the number one vaccine in the world, the DTP, diphtheria, tetanus, and pertussis vaccine, and which is banned, not banned, but it's been discontinued in the European countries and the United States, but we still give it, by Bill Gates and WHO give it to 161 million African children every year. And when the Danish government, Gates went to the Danish government to say, will you support this program? We've saved 30 million lives. And the Danish government said to him, can you show us your data that shows you've saved 30 million lives? And they couldn't. So the Danish government funded this massive study where they went to Africa and they actually looked at 30 years of data on the DTP vaccine. And what they found is that girls who got that vaccine were protected against diphtheria, tetanus, and pertussis, but they were dying at 10 times the rate of children who were unvaccinated. And they were dying of things that nobody ever associated with vaccines. They were dying of anemia, of bilharzia, of malaria, of just common injuries and cuts. They were dying of mainly of pulmonary diseases and pneumonia. And nobody ever associated the fact, or looked at the fact that it was disproportionately the children who got vaccinated that were dying of all those diseases. And what the researchers concluded is that the vaccine was very good at protecting children from diphtheria, tetanus, and pertussis. So everybody had the illusion that it was working, but that it had ruined their immune systems and that they were unable to defend themselves against these minor infections. And nobody has ever done those studies. Vaccines are immune. It's the only medicine that does not have to do safety studies in order to get a license.
Hey, do you want to profit from crypto? Then join my DeFi Academy. The Crypto DeFi Academy will help you create generational wealth. But don't take my word for it. Listen to my students.
When I first got into crypto, I remember thinking to myself, I need to learn more. Brian Rose, learning crypto, learning DeFi, gotta do it.
I am so grateful that I jumped in and did this. I had to break through some limiting beliefs that I can do this, that I can afford this, that I can be in this.
It challenges the things that are deeply rooted within us.
Joining DeFi Academy has been one of the best decisions I have made on my blockchain journey.
This course was a life changer, a game changer, a huge eye-opener, coming from knowing practically nothing at the speed of the learning over 4 weeks was just fantastic.
The information you provided in this class was invaluable.
I feel far more confident in my next steps.
You took complex concepts and made them easier to understand.
What's different than so many other ones is it just doesn't tell you what to do. It actually makes you do it.
This is for people who are serious about becoming traders. This is the way it should be done.
I realized from this learning experience again that it is not about what you learn, but about who you learn it from.
The energy was insane. I've never experienced such incredible energy on a live call. Brian Rose, you are a legend, my friend.
It's the only thing in the market where you can get all information and learn everything what you need to know.
Everything is so clear and so well done, and I'm just forever grateful for this program.
It made me feel so much more confident about crypto than I did before.
I did not anticipate how passionate I was going to become about it.
It's of course been like a big learning experience for me, not just in the crypto space, but just in overall balance of life.
What I've learned is, how to take ownership, of my life in a way that I really hadn't before.
Yeah, you can't put a price on that, really.
I would recommend it to anybody, top notch.
Excellence does not come cheap. So if you want excellence, you got to pay for it, but it's so worth it.
Pull the trigger. That's what this course is about.
You're not going to regret it, really. It's amazing.
Thank you, Brian and team.
So what are you waiting for? Crypto is happening now. Click the link below, submit your application, and let me mentor you on how to create generational wealth and build the decentralized financial infrastructure of the future.